What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast, episode number 71. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about and with a bunch of different college coaches from across the area at the Division 1, 2, and 3 level. Super excited to release this, guys. It's been a lot of work, a lot of fun talking to all these different coaches from around the area. Super excited to get into it. But if you haven't already, go back, check out my long form interviews that I released this summer. Joe Marcara, Mackenzie McGuire, Ty McGeary, and just recently Rob Walker, who I just sat down with, episode number 70. That was a lot of fun. Go back and check out those long form episodes. I really enjoyed having those guys over. And coaches, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, taking time out of your busy schedule this time of year. I know it's a lot, sitting down and talking about your squad. But yeah, man, a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy this edition of the NCAA preview, brought to you by Switch Custom Apparel. All right, next on the show, joining us now, head coach of the newly minted St. Vincent wrestling team, University of St. Vincent College wrestling team, Dom Nania. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Dom, so pumped to have you on again. I had you on a long form about a year ago or so. So much fun that was. But man, it's time. Like we've talked about this. Me and you've texted back and forth. Like it's here. You guys are getting geared up. You got your first wrestling season right around the corner. I see you guys rolling around and talk to me, man. What's the excitement like?
It's been really exciting, to be honest. And if I tell one more person our first home match is November 14th, I'm going to lose my mind. But I think it just talks to the excitement that we have going on right now and everything like that. But we're ready to go. I was ready to go in July of last year, but getting this roster together, getting our practices in line, and everything like that has been really exciting. The guys are great to have on campus finally, because last year was just me. But now having them here and getting to see them interact and train together, it's been really exciting and really fun. So it's just, let's get going here. First official October 10th, and then we're rolling. So
what's that off-season program been like for you? It's kind of like your first one, so a little bit different, I'm sure, than everyone after this. But what's it been like?
So the off season was pretty good. It was really nice. So we had our first camp in June. So we kind of blew this thing up. We wanted to have as much exposure as possible for our campus, the community, and our guys, and plus guys we're recruiting. So we had David Taylor here, Nina Bonacorsi on campus, and it was so much fun. The guys got to work as counselors, and they all met before they even came on campus, picked their roommates, and hung out, goofed around. We were up till 4 a.m. in the dorms, just telling stories and cracking up and having fun. And then, Taylor's awesome. Nina's awesome. Can't speak highly enough of those guys, but it was really good. And then from there, the guys in their Snapchat groups and whatever else they're doing, sending each other workouts and posting things in our group messages. And it's just right now we have a really strong culture of doing extra and doing more and pushing each other. So I'm really thankful for that, and I hope that continues to grow and develop as we get going here. But yeah, the off season was really awesome. And then once they got here in August, it was, let's get our academics in check, and let's make sure we're helping out in the community and doing some fun things like that. But it's been really, really, really exciting.
All right, man. Before we get into like the season, your roster, all that, training camp was just around the corner. Obviously, the Steelers go over to St. Vincent and they do their training camp there. A story came out about you letting Mason Rudolph use your office as kind of like a study room. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so last training camp was the second week of me being here. So it was really cool to see everything. And I've never been on this side of campus before, even as like a Steelers fan coming to training camp. So just one day I popped down here and I saw Mason Rudolph sitting at my desk, and he asked me if he needed it or if I needed it. And I said, absolutely not. Like you have something going on. I'm just the wrestling coach, you're trying to win this job. So, and that was the camp when it was Kenny, Mitch, and Mason. No one knew it was going to happen.
Right.
And, but it was just really cool. So I would just come in here, get my stuff, and leave and go upstairs to the other offices and hang out. But as we got to see each other and talk, it was just high and by. And then right before camp, and I gave him my number. I said, if you ever need anything, like I don't know what it's like you leaving campus or whatever. If you ever need anything, let me know. So the one day I got a text from him and said, hey, this is Mason Rudolph. I have something for you on campus, and I was at home at the time, so came to meet him, and he had it's actually right here in the background, just this autographed photo of John Smith,
Love that.
because he was friends with JoJo, I guess, in college.
Right.
So John Smith signed it and sent it over from Cowboy Wrestling. So it's pretty cool to see that. And then, I got to see him a little bit during camp this year, but I try not to distract these guys. But the one thing I did tell our guys is these professional athletes are different, man. Like the focus and how they're locked in. Like Mason Rudolph is over here outside my office door, film rolling, practicing handoffs and continue to visualize and practice his craft every part of his day. And it just shows, like, to be at that level, that's how locked in you have to be. You're literally foam rolling your hamstrings, practicing handoffs. So it's just, it was really cool to see. And it's an awesome thing for our student athletes to see too. It's just, that level and that type of organization too. It's really cool for us as coaches as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, tough not to rub off of, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the roster, man.
Okay.
Right off the rip, you guys have brought in some like really nice recruits out of the WIPIO, some high level guys, even some guys that like, we're going to talk, me and Mark, you're going to talk to some of these pack coaches, some of these D2 guys. You got some of the prize recruits in the area. What's the roster like? Like who's some of the leaders that are standing out to you early on in the process?
Yeah. So I like for these guys to kind of make a name for themselves. We brought in 4 guys that have won WPIAL championships, multiple state place winners. Our big guy even won a state title his senior year. So it's really exciting. But I just had a conversation with 3 of our leaders right now, and I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we're going to name our captains tomorrow at our practice. It's our last preseason date before we start. Kyle McCollum from Beth Center. He transferred in from Shippensburg. He's a 2-time state place winner stud. He's been dominating our workouts and our runs and our lifts. He's been unbelievable, and he's been a great addition. Super thankful for him being here. He's coming off of a pretty nasty knee injury, but we're going to get him healthy and take our time with him. Another one is Ryan Yoakum from out in Huntington. The kid came in. He wrestled 121 last year. He looks like he gained 6 inches of height to him, and getting him certified. He was walking in here 150, skinny. So, but he's bought in and has been an incredible addition to the room and doesn't back down from anybody, to say the least. And then the last guy we're going to name is a friend of the show, Chase Brandabura. And that kid and I, he was a kid that I really, really saw something in from the get-go, between Justin Waters telling me about him and then going out to see him at Gladiators and doing a few things and going to see him wrestle a couple times this year. I expect a lot from him, and I think his goals are set through the roof. So that's an exciting thing. But, there's other guys too, like Liam Flanagan from out New Jersey. Kid was a New Jersey state qualifier. How hard it is to qualify out there too. So we have a bunch of guys that are bought in and ready to go. And they're already getting tired of seeing each other. So I can't wait to get them against somebody else. So
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Yeah. And, obviously I was going to bring up Chase, and I'm glad you beat me to it. I've watched him work out for years in the Gladiator room, and excited to see what he does on the next level, and to hear you named him a captain. That's obviously good stuff for me. All right, man. The next thing I got to get into, and I've talked to obviously a bunch of different coaches, both on the college and on the high school level, and I've talked to youth coaches too. It's kind of interesting to see the thought process. Schedule. What's that look like? How do you build those dudes to try to get them ready for what is, March?
Yeah. So a lot of, like, you see the push in Division One. I think Iowa just released their schedule. Their first competition's like January 12th. So everyone's a little bit different when they're wanting to build schedules. For us, we have 17 freshmen. We need matches like now. So we're heading up to Adrian, Michigan on November 4th. Very tough Division III invitational. Then we're going to W&J the following week, another invitational. So I'm hoping these guys have at least 10 matches in the first 2 weeks, and really get to see them scrap a little bit. But I want them exposed to high level competition. So we're flying out to Las Vegas for the Desert Duels. We're wrestling Wartburg, who's won 15 national championships in the last 25 years. So again, a kid like Chase, a kid like Kyle, some of the guys on our team, they have a vision of being a national champ. So you have to understand what that's like. If you want to be a national champ, you're gonna have to beat guys from the Waldashes, the Baldwin Wallaces. So we need to get after it and see that right away. But we're not really shying away from anybody. We're wrestling a few Division II teams, but that's the problem with our conference. We're the fourth team. So W&J, Teal, Waynesburg, and St. Vincent only can wrestle each other so many times. So we kind of have to travel a little bit, and that's what's the most fun about college wrestling. It's going, staying in the hotels, it's riding the bus. All that is the memories I still have. Like, I don't even remember some of the matches I wrestled. I remember hanging out with my buddies on the road and having fun. So yeah, our schedule is pretty much spread out all over the place, but we're trying to get a lot of matches early.
Awesome. All right. Next thing I have for you, when are wrestle offs, and are you guys gonna have like streaming for that? Am we gonna be able to watch it somewhere?
So we're gonna handle that in house a little bit. So we're gonna close it. It's gonna be on October 28th at 7 p.m. We're gonna handle it and hash it out a little bit. I'm not a huge wrestle off guy. I'll pair the kids up and see what they can do. Based
It's
on the
always
work I do
interesting
with
to
the
talk
staff.
to people about that, man, because some people love that. Like, bring a crowd in, let's see what they got in front of, and other people are like, let's put them inside, like what you're talking about. It's definitely an
Yeah.
interesting thought process.
Yeah, it's hard to do because I could wrestle the same guy every single day and then beat nobody else. So I think having a baseline, let's get down to weight, let's put singlets on, let's put a headgear on, let's tape our shoes up, let's have a mock match. And then the first 2 weekends, whoever finishes on top, we'll go from there for our first home match. But it's always going to be a fluid situation based on who's performing and not performing, because grades, social life, everything is a factor throughout the year. So we have to keep making sure that the guys are motivated and trending in the right direction. And if they're not, you might have to step away for a little bit. But we're really excited to see our first lineup on the 14th.
Love that. All right. Next thing I have for you, women's wrestling. Is that something that St. Vincent is interested in? I know that you guys obviously, it's a lot to ask. You guys just got started with the men's side of things, but is women's something that is on the horizon?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be a few years away, but I think it's going to happen. Our athletic director is from Wheeling, and that's kind of how we know each other a little bit. But he saw West Liberty and got excited. And then other than that, like, I think it's Gannon and Mercier, so the other two close, or Gannon and Lock Haven are the other two closest ones. So I know it's in the works in the next few years. I want a few years to get this established first, and then we can have those conversations, hopefully. But it's awesome. My daughter wants wrestling shoes. She wants to scrap a little bit, and she's not even 4 yet. So I think it's an awesome thing, and I would love to have women's wrestling here at some point.
Love it. Bring her out, roll around with NJ Gladiators.
I don't know.
Dude, trust me, NJ has no idea what's going on, but he likes being on the mat, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you, brother. Hey, anything else you have for me? Anyone else you want to shout out or anything?
Just my staff, man. I can't do without them. Travis Smelling, Chad Smelling, Joey Alessandro, my brother Dante just moved back from Baltimore on Sunday, so we're excited to bring him on. But my wife
Dante
Brooke,
was a stud. Oh man.
Maybe on the football field,
Oh man, I remember wrestling Dante. He tossed me a few times on my head, so he was a good wrestler back in the day, dude.
Yeah, he was tough. But yeah, also my wife Brooke. You see our social media if you want to follow us on SVC_wrestling. All the SVC Cribs videos and keeping up with the commuters. That's all her ideas and things like that. So it's definitely a family affair over here. So
I love those SVC crib videos. That is, you put those kids in a little room. They're like, "Show me your room." They're just like, boop, 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 boop. I mean, it's not big, but I find it hilarious and funny and kind of like, it is cool, man. That's good. Give your wife my best on that. I love that idea.
Will do.
All right, my man. Appreciate you for coming on and hanging out and just chopping it up with us.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you guys as always.